Hello guys, good evening and welcome back. Alright, so in this video I want to show us how to draft a top. Now I have made several videos on this. Now the reason I am making this video again is to make sure that some of us who might find it difficult to understand, we actually understand the concept. Now like I said, the first thing to do is to get a fabric, then you check the front and the back. Now, usually, the one that is shiny is the front panel of the outfit, right? Then all you need to do now is to put it in this form, fold in this form. Now, your folding must be done in accordance to your chest measurement over 4. So this is my front. So I will fold in this form. So now, when you have gotten your folding properly done. Now the chest I have is 42. So divide by 4, you have 10.5. That's 10 and a half. Then you are meant to add extra 2 inches to that 10 and a half, which will give us 12 and a half, right? So you fold in this form to make sure you cover 12 and a half. Then how then do you know? By measuring your folding to have 12.5. So make sure it's properly covered, right? 12.5 must be properly covered this way. Then once you're done with this, you make sure it's straight enough, right? The fabric must be well arranged. Don't be in a haste to um cut, right, or to draft. So make sure it's properly arranged. Everything must be arranged this way. 12.5 is our folding, which was gotten from the 10.5 inch we got from the chest plus extra 2 inches. This is how the folding must be gotten, right? Then after this, the next to do now is to mark out your baseline. So you mark out your baseline there. So which, by God's grace, the baseline we have, you must mark out a baseline of to make sure that this area is straight enough. So you place your rule this way, you mark out your baseline. It must be straight enough this way. Your baseline has been properly marked out. Now the next again you're going to do is add 4 inches here. Now this 4 inches is for the folding of the top, right? It's not part of the top length, for the folding. So you mark 4 inches here. Then after which you connect the line as shown in this form. Connect the line as shown in this form. Then you apply the top length. Now the top length I have, for my measurement I have here, is a top length of 34. 34, right? So you measure 34 inches from that 4 inches point, 34 inches this way, and then you mark in this form. You also mark the 34 inches again in this form as well, right? Then after this, now the next to do as well is to connect the shoulder point all through to this area. So now when you must have done that, this is how it will be. Now you now consider your armhole. Now armhole must be considered from the person's chest measurement, and you must recognize the fact if you are making a long sleeve or a short sleeve. So we are making a long sleeve, so the formula remains chest over 4 minus 1 for all values of 3/4 and then long sleeves. So which we had chest of 42 over 4 is 10.5 minus 1 is what? 9.5. So you mark 9.5 this way, you mark 9.5 as well this way, right? This is how it is. Then after which you connect the lines in this form. This works for both adults and children, right? So make sure you watch the video to the end for you to understand how all these things are done. Then after which you mark your 10.5, which is your chest measurement. 10.5 this way, then extra 2 inches added. But I will use 1.5 because I'm sure that my customer's chest is 42. So 1.5 is the minimum inch you can add. Then after this, now the next to do is to draft your shoulder. The shoulder I have is a shoulder of 18. Divide by 2, you have 9. Then plus half inch extra that you will use to join the sleeves to the outfit. Make it to be 9.5. Remember, you can still mark 9 inches on its own and still mark half. But because it's too small, I have to join both the half inch needed for the shoulder to the shoulder measurement. Then after which I will now connect the shoulder point to the real chest measurement, which happens to come in this form. Then after this, the next thing to do as well is to slope the shoulder. Now sloping is coming down by 2.5, which I told us that you must slope all outfits. And I gave us a range which ranges from 1 inch to 3 inches. But for adults, I use 2.5 inches and above, right? So for this guy, I will use 2.5 this way, and then after which I will connect in this form as well, this way, and then after which the next to do is to your armhole trimming. Armhole trimming is, you must make sure that you measure from the slanted line to the armhole point. You have 7 inches left, right? Then the middle is 3.5. That's 7 over 2 is 3.5. Then from that 3.5 is where you have to come in by 1.5 inch. Now for the armhole curve, right? Then place your armhole curve this way. Make a connection that laps from the armhole shoulder point to the armhole remaining this way, and then you connect in this form, right? Connect in this form this way. Then after this, you now go to your neck. So the neckline I have, neckline of 17, divide by 6, you have a value. Minus 0.3 from it, you now use the lesser value to mark. Then add half to that to get your depth. So if I divide 17 by 6, I will have 2.53 or thereabouts, 2.73 thereabouts. So I will pick 2.5. I will mark it here this way, and then add half to 2.5. I will now mark 3 inches, right? 3 inches. So now, after which, all right, so now back to the class. Now, what you need to do now, after you add half inch to the neckline, then the next to do as well is to mark a straight line from here this way. It will come in this form. Then after this, you connect this one as well to form an angle 90 here, right? You must have form angle 90 here. Then after this, you now take your armhole curve, place in this form, and then you connect all through to this very curve, right? So after this now, the next to do is to determine your side slit opening. Like I said, you can cut it straight or have 1 inch extra. So I will place this one this way to draw a straight line. But the simplest thing to do here is, before you draw a straight line, please kindly make sure that you measure out the total measurement here from the chest plus extra 1.5 or 2, which is 12 now, and then mark it somewhere at the downside in order to know how straight your rule will be, in order to avoid whereby your ruler coming inwards or going outwards, so that you will be able to achieve a straight line from the beginning to the end. Then mark a straight line from here all through to this very moment, to this very point. Mark it a straight line all through that way. Then for you to know where the slit will come, from the 4 inches extra you added, you mark 7 inches high, which is your slit point, right? Your slit point. And then you take the line uprightly from here to this point. So this is how you draft the front block. So I will cut this now and show you guys also how to cut the back. So I believe the video is clear enough for us to see clearly how these things are done. I will cut and show you guys how to go about the rest. All right, so now this is how the cutting is done. You must make sure you carefully cut from the lines which you have drafted, right? Make sure you cut from the lines which you have drafted properly. So this is for the front panel. Then after this, you also cut out here as well. You also cut straight enough this way. Make sure you don't exceed the lines which you have marked. The lines must be followed, right? You must make sure you follow the adequate lines, or the lines that you are meant to follow, right? Then cut off this as well in this form. So now, once you're done with this, then the next thing to do now is to fold the back. But before then, you have to drop a chalk marking here to signify the front and the back, because the shiny part inside is the front. So mark chalk once or two chalk marking, and also mark at the back. But make sure that before you mark the chalk, you don't mark color chalks on white fabrics if you're making a white outfit. But if you have a black fabric, you can mark color chalks anywhere. So meaning that you must use white chalks on white fabrics, right? So having said that, let's now fold and cut for the front. All right, so now I am done folding the back. So I have to place the front on top of the back this way. So making sure that this edge is equal enough. They must iron out this area properly, to make it relax enough. So after this stage, the next to do as well is to raise the back. Now, remember that we used 2.5 inches in slanting. So, and the slanting we made was an upright slanting, meaning it ended on the fabric fold. But if it had ended on the neck edge, we would have used 2.5 inches and 2.5 inches. But because the slanting went all through to the edge of the fabric unfold, then you have to add extra half inch. Reason, because of the fact that the slanting has cut off half inch on the neck region here, right? So you have to add extra half inch here. That's 3 inches at the neck region, and then 2.5 inches at the armhole region. So having done that, then the next to do is to place your ruler in this form. Make sure you have a straight ruler this way, and then connect the lines properly. And then you slope your rule half inch backwards from the straight line or angle 45 degrees this way. Slope it out through that way, and then mark your chalk. Then after which the back neck remains 1.5 inches deep for the back neck. Then use your armhole curve as well. Place in a way that this curvy area will fall down half inch extra from this area, but then it must touch that circumference. So it goes in this form. Then after this, you now cut the neck, cut the shoulder, and also cut the sides properly. So this is how you go about it. Make sure you watch the video to the end for you to see clearly how these things are done. It's not hard, like I do tell you guys. It's something that you must carefully do, and then you must follow the rules that I have also included in this video for you to understand properly how to do all of this. So after you must have done this now the next to do as well is to cut the sides just the way we have cut the front. You also cut in this form. So now, after the video now, I'll also show you how to balance the neck. Now, some people do have issues. After sewing, the front panel will pop up. Now, they will tend to have a complaint on the neck relaxation. They also note importantly that on my cutting stage, I make sure that the back area is 1 inch longer than the front, which will be used on the neck balancing, right? So having said that, now let's see how to balance the shoulder area. Now for the shoulder area, all you need to do now is to fold this panel to come in front. Now what's the extent of folding? You have to fold 2 inches to 2.5 depending on the size you are making. So I have it to be at 2.3, 2.3 here, 2.5. So this extent is very much ideal. All I need to do now is to trim the shoulder region this way, trim off this way, and then make sure I also trim the neckline very well. So this is how you must do yours. So after you must have done this now, so the next to do is to also cut the back facing and also cut the sleeves, so which will come from another video, which will be the components that makes up the outfit. I will have the sleeve there, the back facing, and also the pockets, show you guys how they are being cut. So make sure you watch the next video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.